Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hamilton Police Station. Thank you for coming to this press conference to discuss the 2015 Crime Statistics Report. We've released the report. It's available on our website. It's a lengthy document, about 26 pages in length, because we have a very comprehensive methodology of reporting out on crime in Bermuda. I don't propose to take you line through the report, but I just want to draw your attention to a few key issues, and then I'll be happy to take questions at the end. So the headline would obviously be that total crime for 2015 was 3,750 offences. And that was spread evenly over the 4 quarters, with an average of about 937 crimes being recorded in each quarter. Now this total represents an increase of 356 more crimes than what was reported in 2014. That works out to be about 1 additional crime for each day of the year, and it equates to an increase in total crime of about 10.5%. Now, it should be noted that 2014, the year before, actually recorded the lowest total crime rate since the year 2000. The longer-term picture is that the 5-year trend in crime has remained about level. Total crime has remained below the 4,000 mark for the 4th year in a row. The total crime for 2015 is ranked 3rd in the last 5 years, but it's at the bottom of the table in a comparison over the last 15 years. Now, having said it's about the same, there are a number of areas of crime that stand out, and the first one will come as no surprise to anyone that's read the reports lately. Robbery increased in 2015 by an additional 13 offences, bringing it to a total of 46 robberies, which represents a 39% increase over the year before. Now, the police are monitoring this trend very closely, because in 2016 there have been 10 more robberies occurring just in the first 6 weeks. Investigations into these cases are being vigorously pursued, and we are working hard to bring these violent offenders to justice. Anyone with information about recent robberies should help us stop this trend by reporting what they know. Now, other crime areas that saw increases in 2015 include non-serious assaults, assaults like ABH and common assault. These are up by 137 to 514 assaults over the year, which represents an increase of 36%. Non-residential burglary, or shop breaking, or commercial breaking. These were up by 65 to 143. Now this is a drastic increase over the year before, but the number has actually returned to the same level it was at in previous years, after 2014 recorded an unprecedented low in this area. Criminal damage is up by 65, bringing it to 289 crimes. That's an increase of 29% over the year before. Disorder offenses up by 40 to 107 offenses. That's an increase of 60%. Disorder offenses include things like affray, which is fighting in public, also obstruction of police, violently resisting arrest, and curfew offenses. Antisocial behavior is also up by 35 offenses to a total of 421, and that represents an increase of 9% over the year before. Antisocial behavior offenses include things like breach of the peace, threatening behavior, loitering, and noise offenses. Tragically, Bermuda recorded 4 murders in 2015. 1 person was killed by a firearm, and 5 additional people were injured by firearms. This compares about even with 2014, when 4 people were murdered, although 2 were murdered by firearm, and an additional 8 people were injured by gunshot. During 2015, there were 12 confirmed firearms incidents and 21 recoveries of either firearms or ammunition or both. In 2014, there were 17 confirmed firearm incidents and 8 recoveries of firearms and ammunition. Traffic collisions have declined year on year, with 2015 recording the lowest number of collisions in the last 5 years, at a total of 1,310 collisions. Serious collisions represent 7.7% of the total, and there were 7 fatal collisions on our roads last year. This is a reduction from 16 tragic fatalities the year before. Now, we've recently published the BPS strategic plan for 2016 to 2018. That took effect on the 1st of January. And next week, my colleagues and I will construct the first of 3 annual policing plans, which coincide with the financial year, and the first one commences on the 1st of April. These plans articulate our priorities to the public, and those are tackling crime and antisocial behavior, engaging with the community, and making the roads safer. Over the coming weeks and months, our community can expect to continue to see police operations and other initiatives that are aimed at achieving these objectives and enhancing public confidence. Thank you.
Excuse me, please.
Commissioner, with the increase in gun violence, robberies, what exactly, without revealing your tactics, what exactly is the police going to do to tackle this?
Well, I think there's 3 main areas. 2 have to do with prevention. So we look at the type of robberies that we've been having generally fall into 2 categories. It's either crime of opportunity by violent criminals who are taking advantage and exploiting a situation. That's why many of the robberies have occurred late at night. Many have occurred at businesses that have a high cash flow. So they fall strictly into criminality, violent criminality. And the other half, or the other category, would really be associated with gangs and respect issues. You remember we went through a spate of chain snatches last year, and those are really about feuding tensions between gangs. So once we understand what's driving it, then we look at preventative measures. So we'll be stepping up our work with our community action teams and businesses, particularly late night businesses, particularly high cash businesses, to look at security measures and security features that we can help make small businesses tougher targets. The other prevention is really around how we deploy our resources. So if we look at when and where and on whom robberies are occurring, then that really focuses us on where our police officers need to be. So those 2 are about prevention, and the other one is really about bringing these violent offenders to justice. Because if we can hold people to account, often we find that they are responsible for more than one violent crime, and we stop the trend. So 2 parts prevention, 1 part enforcement.
How are you preparing your officers in preparation to dealing with some of these offenders that have no respect for the uniform and are very aggressive? You said that there's an increase in attacks on police officers. How are you preparing your men and women for this training?
Well, there isn't an increase on attacks on police officers, but there is an increase in assaults in the community, and obviously the increase in robbery. So there's 2 things. Certainly all of our officers are equipped and trained with the latest defensive equipment to protect them and to help protect other people. We've increased the deployment of tasers since we introduced it in 2011. We have had a permanent firearms presence on the roads since 2008. So in terms of being able to respond to violence, I think we've demonstrated that we're well positioned for that. The other thing that we're hoping that will make a change is the body-worn cameras that we rolled out a few months ago. It gives an opportunity for the police officer to record exactly what is happening in front of him or her. It removes all doubt when we review the tape about what happened. And it's also an opportunity to diffuse the situation, because we're training our officers to inform the public that they're being recorded. And it's ironic that when you know that your actions are being captured on film, it gives you an opportunity for pause and to think about whether or not you need to change your behavior. So I think we've come a long way in the last few years.
You mentioned there that there were 21 recoveries of firearms. And I was just wondering if you could tell us where and how they were recovered and whether any were intercepted before they got into the hands of the criminals, i.e. through the X-ray machine, the docs or anything like that.
I don't have that level of detail in front of me. It's not 21 firearms, it's a combination of firearms and or ammunition.
Yeah.
So off the top of my head, it's probably half that many. It's about 10 firearms. I don't have the specifics, but I don't recall that any of those are other than through searches, police searches. I don't think they came through the ports.
Okay.
I don't.
That leads me to the next question actually, the stop and search. That was quite a controversial introduction. I think it was down on the previous year in the last set of stats. Do you know where it stands this time?
Yeah, that's in the report. There's a graph that will show you where it is. It's the lowest it's been since it was enacted, and the message that we've made sure that we share every opportunity we get is that we recognize the seriousness of that power, and it's not something that we use unless it's absolutely necessary to do so. The law was changed at a point where Bermuda was in its worst spate of violent crime in its history. In 2010, we had one person shot an average of every 10 days in this country. And as a result of that, those powers were, the legislation was amended. Those powers to stop and search without cause were given for a specific purpose, and it was to keep people safe. And I have no doubt in my mind that the prolific use of stop and search in 2010 and 2011 saved lives in this country. I have no doubt in my mind. And the graph will show you that when shootings went up, stop and search went up, and when shootings came down, stop and search came down. And that's a commitment from us that the use of that extreme power will be proportionate to the threat that exists at the time.